Orange County is fighting back against California's sanctuary laws that protect illegal immigrants. County supervisors voting this evening to join the Trump administration lawsuit against sanctuary policies. And the Sheriff's Department has posted the release dates now of all inmates, giving federal authorities an opportunity to track down any criminal illegal immigrants who should be deported. Joining us tonight is Congressman Andy Biggs, member of the House Judiciary Committee, and joining us from beautiful Arizona, as we can see there. Good to have you with us, Congressman.
Good to see you, Lou. Good to be with you.
This is quite remarkable. 12 states now joining through amicus briefs the federal government lawsuit against California. Orange County, a hotbed of common sense, doing the same. And I love the sheriff's office posting the list of release dates of all inmates from which appropriate authorities can find out who they would like to greet at the door as they like.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's fantastic. I think that needs to happen. I'm glad that there's 12 states that are standing up. I wish the rest would all stand up. And I think that, I offered an amendment last week to attack the sanctuary cities and states because, there's no reason in the world for this state to basically thumb their nose at the federal government and the laws that are imposed that are pursuant to the Constitution here and endanger their own communities. I just simply don't understand that kind of thinking. And so I applaud the Orange County board, and I also support that sheriff. I think he's doing a great job, and there's other communities, individual communities, that are also taking those steps in California.
Absolutely. You know what I don't understand is the Justice Department, the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, and why he is not moving as powerfully as he could, as you state, against sanctuary jurisdictions, whether it be the state of California, whether it be any city. Because this is not child's play. This is life and death in many cases.
Absolutely. One of the most fundamental obligations of government is to protect the rights and safety of individuals. And if we're going to allow these cities and these jurisdictions to actually put their citizens in harm's way, we are abrogating that trust that comes with the Constitution. And so I think we should just be hammering home. And we should also make sure that there's some personal liability for policymakers who willfully put their citizens in jeopardy.
And the state of California, some argue that as many as 5 congressmen from California shouldn't be representing California at all because of the skewed census results that give them greater population, including illegal immigrants who shouldn't be counted for the purpose of representing for Congress being represented by those districts.
Yeah, that's a problem as well. I'm trying to figure out, the census was designed for the purpose of apportioning congressional districts. That was the purpose of it, to set those up. Well, only people who are citizens can vote, and their families. So we want to count citizens. So I have no problem with going in and counting people and saying and questioning them. Are you a citizen? Are you not a citizen? I realize that some people get hinky about it, but I mean, look. What you have going on is the Census Bureau is going out and asking how many refrigerators, how many toilets, all kinds of personal questions. Do you have guns in the home? Those types of things. They should not be asking those questions. It is very legitimate to be saying, are you a U.S. citizen? That's important.
And anyone who thinks they're not involved in this should understand their states loses representation by often as a result because California, which is not exactly a hotbed of reason and rationality, has greater representation than is appropriate. Let's turn to the wall fund. I know you voted against the spending bill, the $1.3 trillion in some considerable measure because there was no funding for the president's wall. Are you astounded that your speaker, the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, is opposing the president on fundamental issues of his agenda upon which he was elected in 2016?
Yeah, it's mind-blowing to me that the American people, in my mind, sent a very clear message. We want immigration to stop, illegal immigration to stop. we want a wall built. I mean, if you look back to President Trump, where was he? He was in the middle of the pack toward the end until he said, let's build a wall. Well, that's what Americans want. And they don't want 30 miles here, 30 miles there. There are ways to fund this. If you've got a $1.3 trillion budget and you take out the military spending, you literally still have hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. You can move that money over to build the wall. If you don't want to do that, let's tax transfer payments. I don't normally like taxes, but we know that
I don't like them at all.
Yeah, right. But I mean, let's make a fee then. Let's make a fee. If you're going to transfer money from the United States of America and send it back home, you can put a fee on that, and that will pay for the wall. Yeah. And but why would you take it from military spending or any other place? Let's divert it from the non-military spending. That's what we also promised as well.
Well, there is that, and to whatever degree, the president is right to talk about it as a matter of national defense, because it is the protection of a border. It is the defense of our sovereignty, across which methamphetamines, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, the majority of it crosses that border. It is also where the human smuggling is taking place, and perhaps, yes, terrorists, which makes it an urgent matter of defense. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. It is an urgent matter, and we need to get going on it immediately. And I'll just reiterate this: we just spent enough money that you can keep the missions that you already have with the military, and you can trust me, you can find $25 billion in the balance of that to make sure that we put that wall up, because it is national security. And again, border security is imperative. That is part of the constitutional mandate, and we have to do that.
Congressman Andy Briggs, as always, great to have you with us. Thank you.
Good to be with you, Lou. Thanks.
Good to see you.